Hello, and welcome to Young Global Leaders, where we get the chance to hear from young people, hailing from all around the world, sharing about themselves, their accomplishments, and their vision for a better world. Recently, I had the privilege of leading a group of about 100 young people from over 40 countries to 7 global regions on an 8-month global gap year program. Most of them had just graduated from high school, though we also had a few older students. During our 8+ months together, the students formed a deeply loving and supportive community. Anyone could see that they had built something unique and inspiring. Through my eyes as a teacher, coach, and global leadership consultant, what I saw was unlike anything I'd seen before. When the program ended, I desperately wanted to keep in touch with these students and to share their example with the world. So I started the Young Global Leaders podcast. Today we hear from Nico Zamora. Nico Zamora, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very excited to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you too. Can you start by sharing with our listeners where you're joining us from today and what has brought you there?
So I'm right now in Canton, in the state of New York, upstate New York, in the U.S. I'm studying here. I'm in the university, in St. Lawrence University, actually with a couple of people from the program that we had the chance to do with you. Basically, I think the reason I ended up here was that I wanted to pursue neuroscience. And when I was looking into colleges and all of the opportunities that they offered, this was one of the schools that caught my attention. And I also got to meet the international recruiter before I applied. And well, after I had applied, actually. And he have seen my interview and he was like, hey, I checked what you said. And then we had a chat and he really convinced me that this was a great option. So yeah, as time passed, I was more convinced and now I'm here.
Excellent. So they've got a good undergraduate in neuroscience program at St. Lawrence?
Yes. Apparently also, according to the Princeton Review, and I don't know how accurate that is, it also has I think it's the number 8 lab facilities, which in my experience, they have been pretty good. I don't know, I don't have any other idea to compare to other universities, but I'm very happy with all of the facilities they have.
Is that so are you majoring in neuroscience? Is that your major?
Yeah, so far, yes. It's liberal arts, right? So I haven't decided or officially stated what I'm going to major on, but that's the plan. Neuroscience is the plan.
Excellent. Good. I've always had a little bit of envy of neuroscience it's because it's such a fascinating subject. And it's closely related to my interest of linguistics and cognition generally, but just at a completely different level.
What I find
go ahead.
fascinating... What I find fascinating about neuroscience is that you can basically link most of the fields of knowledge and back to the brain and back to how it's a structure and how it functions. So I think that's what I'm interested about mainly. Just my interest towards neuroscience has come from so many different places that I think whatever you do, neuroscience could be interesting to look at to fully understand the picture of things.
Absolutely. And it's actually, I can't remember. I think I probably introduced a couple of really basic neuroscience concepts in some of the work that we did with Bray Scholars, because it ties so closely together with intercultural leadership and communication and all of that.
Yeah.
And all I can basically get to is okay, yes, the amygdala is our threat detection mechanism, and we've got the neocortex. It's so much more complicated. So if anybody ever asks me a question that goes beyond the basics, I would have nothing to say other than I don't know. So it's helpful.
I think I'm way lower than your level yet. I haven't taken any neuroscience course yet. But I'm very excited. I'm very looking forward to that because every time I read about it, I'm just so intrigued. It's so interesting.
Well, if it is true that you know less about neuroscience than me right now, on day 1 of your first neuroscience class, you will surpass my level of knowledge of neuroscience.
It's next semester. I'll come back to you.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Nico, I'm going to ask you the question I ask everybody, which is, what makes you you?
Oh, this is actually such a good question, but I think it's so hard to answer. I was thinking about it, and I think the first thing that came to my mind was a word to describe myself. And if I had to choose a word, I would use curiosity, because I feel like most of my life has been determined about just a sense of unease, because there's something that I don't know, and that's never gonna change. all of my life I'm gonna go through not knowing something. And I think that's just shaped the decisions I made and has helped me to make decisions and to decide things throughout. But when it came to friendships, when it comes to family and the things that I like, even hobbies, I've always like tried to change and to move around and to learn new things and to just basically experience as much as I could, because I always felt like this sense of there's something that I don't know. So how can I discover that? Um, yeah, and I think at some point that just got super overwhelming to like not knowing everything, and a sense of frustration towards that, and knowing that I'm not able to know everything. And I guess that's translated a little bit into art. And art has become like my way of explore that curiosity. So to do
Mm.
things, and well, of course, with Barret and having gone to Armenia to finish high school, far from Bolivia, literally far from Bolivia, and living 2 years there, then traveling with the gap year program that we did with Barret throughout the world, and then coming here, that sense of that I'm never gonna get to know everything keeps me moving and puts me in places that I've never been and in situations that I've never faced. So curiosity would be a great way of defining me, and I think curiosity makes me me. But I also thought about love, because
Mm.
I also believe that love can be entirely the whole truth. There's everything, it has like its yin and yang, good and bad. And I think love comes with suffering too. And I think it's important to recognize that suffering exists before love, to understand that love is important.
Mm.
But who are you if you don't have a community, if you don't have people to love, if you don't have things that you love to do? So I would say that love is also something that makes me me.
Mm. Thank you so much for sharing that. Uh, this may be something that you've noticed about culture here in the United States, broadly speaking. This is my opinion, but that we don't talk about love very much here. It's almost like
Hmm.
there's a certain amount of shame that's attached to even talking about love. We even have you heard, the L word? People will talk about the L word, like almost like love is like
Oh,
yeah, like almost like
yeah.
F word, right? It's like it's a swear word or something that we can't even talk about. So I really appreciate the openness with which you share about the importance of love to you.
Thank you. You know what's also super interesting? I think love is very different. Like, I understand love different in English than I do it in Spanish, because I feel
Mm,
like you in and you like linguistics, probably you're familiarized with this comparison. But in Spanish, we have two ways of addressing someone that you care about, and it
mm,
could be through te quiero and te amo.
mm,
Whereas in English, you only have I love you.
mhm,
So
mhm.
I think that's also part, right? Because when you only have one word to describe it, then you need to be very careful to use it. So I guess that also plays a role into what makes the L word the L word.
That's great. Okay, we're going to get really nerdy here for a moment because I've been working on Spanish on Duolingo now for about a year, um,
Yes.
and it's not functional. It's not even close to functional yet. But I would love to hear from you. What is the difference between te amo and te quiero?
Oh, I think te amo, you have to feel something big on you.
Mm,
It has to Te quiero, you can just, it's something that it's dear to you, that you want to care about, that you don't want something bad to happen. I would say, when it comes, I'm of
mm,
course referring to using a person as an example. And te amo, which is the direct translation
mm,
to I love you. Um, I think it's more of a profound feeling of I would do anything for you. You know,
mm,
you don't
mm.
die for someone that you only quieres. That, because
Right.
the translation to te quiero is I want you,
Mm-hmm.
but which is not the same connotation, right? When you say it in
Right. Yeah.
Spanish, it's very complex to like really translate it directly.
Mhm.
Um, wow, I think it's a very hard question to answer. I
I didn't mean to
you
put you
need
on
to
the
it's
spot.
I think you need to understand Spanish to be able to understand the difference of those two words. Because I
Okay.
can, like, of course I can simplify it and say I love you, it's for your family, for your closest friends,
Mm,
um for your significant other.
mhm,
But te quiero would be more broadly used, right?
mhm,
But I think it's more than that, because I also feel love towards so many things when I'm thinking in Spanish.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for guiding us through that. I mean, literally, I would bet probably, a few hundred grad student papers in linguistics departments have been written about this topic, probably. So,
I know, yes, and I think it's something that people, especially Spanish speakers, that then went to UWC, for example, people that I talked to in my UWC, they all had this. It was so hard to say I love you because it felt that you needed to be so smart to use it. Like you couldn't express really your like how much you care about someone because it was only a word and you had to be careful and you couldn't just accidentally say it to someone because it would have a very, very big connotation, which in Spanish wouldn't.
okay. All right. Good. Well, I really appreciate you taking a deep dive there, scratching my nerd itch. Well, the next question I've got for you is, we'd love to hear more about your story and about your background and how you came to be a part of the Beret Scholars Program, which is what brought us together.
um So yeah, I'm from Bolivia. I'm from the south. It's a city in a valley that it's situated in a valley. Beautiful city,
What's the
very
name of the
close to the
city?
border. Tarija. It's
Mm.
very close to the border of Argentina. Super close, 2 hours away. Um, Beautiful. I'm so happy that I was born there. And well, of course, I was. Um, the city is very isolating. It's not really that we have a big well, Bolivia with the political situation, sometimes it's hard to really be interconnected. We're not really a very globalized country per se. It's something that is just happening in the past, I'm going to say months, because there's been a change in government. Um, so yeah, I was very isolated, and as I told you before, I've always felt this curiosity to something else. And the references that I had, of course, were from movies and stuff like that. So my idea was after I finish school, I'm going to try to apply university in the US. I'll see what happens. I was learning English. I was putting some effort on English. So that was my plan. And then I had a friend that had gone to UWC and he invited us to the talk that he had about UWC. He was going to do a webinar or something to explain what UWC was. And since he was close enough, I ended up going. And that year I couldn't apply, but since then, UWC was always in the back of my head. And then when time came around, it was COVID. I applied, I got in. And after I got in, I was, maybe this is not for me. Maybe this is not what I want to do. I was very, very scared. That's actually when I started a podcast. I also had a podcast back in the day where I talked about like some things. And literally the first episode that I've ever recorded was on fear. Because it was more of a journal for myself in exploring what I was feeling, the things that I was thinking about. Um, and then I realized that the only way of actually putting myself out there was putting myself out there. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to Armenia. I didn't really know much about Armenia. I only knew that the alphabet was different. I knew some other things, but nothing really relevant. Like it's not a country that had gone through my mind a couple of times. So I was very scared. Also, as a Bolivian, all of the issues with the visas and travel restrictions is something that um, haunts you wherever you are. So, and I had a layover in Qatar and I had a layover in Brazil. Brazil was fine, but I was very scared. It was my first time flying over the sea, over the ocean. So of course I was scared. I was like, I was alone. I was 18 by then. That also played a role in why I didn't want to go, and I felt that it wasn't my place to do UWC when I was 18. Um, but yeah, I ended up going. Everything went fine. I did a layover in Qatar, ended up in Armenia. I stepped out of the flight and I was like, wow, I don't understand. This is all in Armenian. um, I met in the airport some people that I know, that I knew from like chatting and stuff. Went to school. And since then, I think my life has been about changing what I think and deconstructing ideas and learning so much because I realized that I lived in such a narrow um, mind sort of bubble, and like all of the things that I knew and all of the things that I could access to were very secluded. I needed to put so much effort if I really wanted to to learn something else and do something else that wasn't offered easily around me. So it genuinely changed everything, that the way I view life. I wanted to go back to Bolivia after UWC, but once I stepped in UWC, I said to myself, I'm not going back, not at least for university. I really want to be out there and explore the world. And well, then I wasn't planning on taking a gap year at all. Like, it was not something that I ever thought about. Because first of all, in Bolivia, that's not something that people do.
Mhm.
It's not very well seen. And second of all, also I was already 18 and I was going to finish UWC for when I was 20. And I thought that that was like a good age to start college. Like, it was a little bit late, but it was time to start college. So then I had applied to universities, and in the process I came across Barrett. I was actually in Turkey when I saw the opportunity of Barrett. And in Turkey, I just realized, because I was living alone more or less, and I realized how much world has to offer and how small I am compared to everything that exists. And that's when I started questioning, why am I putting why do I have to do things in a certain structure? Why do I have to go to uh, school and then finish at certain age, and then go to university and finish at certain age, and then do a master's and finish at certain age, and then start my life? You know, that it's more or less how you live in Bolivia. And I already stepped out of that cycle. I need to try something more. Then I read the book. I had a call with Kaledi. That was the first person that I've ever connected with. And then I was like, yeah, I'm going to try this. I didn't tell my parents when I was applying, because I knew that they were going to push back on the idea. And I also, to be honest, didn't know how likely how high my chances were to apply. So I wanted to keep it for myself. I applied. I had interviews. And then I ended up getting in. And that's when I told my parents. And my parents in the beginning said, no, I don't like, I think it's time for you to go to university. My mom was very scared that I wasn't going to go to university after the gap year. She was like, maybe you change your mind. Maybe that's not what you want afterwards. But I was sure that university was something that I wanted to do. That's why I also really wanted to do Barrett. So yeah, in the end, I did Barrett, and it was generally one of the best decisions I've ever made. And now that I look back at it, the age means nothing against all of the experiences that I've had, and all of the things that I've seen, and everything that I've done so far.
Wow. There's a number of things that's a wonderful story, Nico. I appreciate you sharing it. I guess the first thing that's striking me about it is just how strong your curiosity is, because it seems like there are so many times, so many points in that story where fear could have kept you from following the path that you ended up following. And it seems like it was always curiosity pulling you. And whatever fear may or may not have been there was not strong enough to counter the curiosity. Does that feel accurate to you?
Yes, I think you said it right. Just being curious about what was going to happen if I made that decision, if I went there, if I applied, has always been like my motto. And of course, fear, even like when it comes to rejection, right? Like, you can be rejected from so many things. But I realized that that's part of life. And in the end, to be honest, I've been lucky enough to experience the things that my heart really like wanted to, and the things that I put effort and patience and love towards have always brought me back so many good results. So curiosity has also like very much tied to the love that you put into doing things. And yeah, I was lucky. I'm very lucky. I think I'm very lucky.
Okay, well, shifting gears a little bit, I wanted to ask you, well, it's actually still on topic because it's connected to curiosity as well. But, we often talk about learning as an important outcome of a program like Bray Scholars. Can you share with us anything that you might have unlearned during your travels?
Oh, yes. I don't think I've been ever a person who with many prejudices. I do believe that I've been lucky enough to experience things while growing up that allow me to develop a sense of empathy that was strong enough to be able to see everything on people, the good and the bad, and move around. And then, of course, UWC and hence those beliefs, and allow me always to talk to people and to, and like, wait, can I do it again? This one?
Yeah, start over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know what I wanted to say. Give me 2 seconds. I need to order my put some order in my head. Yeah. Okay. Something that I really learned through Barrett, that I think that I somehow mentioned it while I was talking to you about how things ended up being in my life and the decisions that I made, and it was about the structure. Uh, and to be honest, it's something that I'm still thinking of, and it's in the back of my head. The idea that there are certain things that society, your family, and the people around you expect you to do. And I'm not gonna lie, like growing up and before I went to UWC and when I got into UWC, I've always received a lot of pushback from friends, some members of my family saying, "You're gonna repeat 2 years of high school. Are you sure you wanna do that? Why don't you go just straight to college? Why would you take a gap year? You already took 2 gap years." You know, of course, and I received so much pushback. Just talking to the people, and being exposed to so many professionals from so many different careers, I think allowed me to understand that there's not a structure that determines success, happiness, or anything really. There's not a single way of living and experiencing life. And I think even though I could understand that that was a thing before Barrett, I think Barrett just pushed me to understand that it actually nothing determines anything, and only you are the owner of the things you do. So you do the things that you want to do because you want to do them. And I think that's helped me a lot since I'm in university after have experienced Barrett, and even throughout Barrett while I was learning and trying to just use this philosophy in more of a daily basis. I grew so much, and I started doing the things that I wanted to do and saying the things that I wanted to do, and thinking the way that I wanted to think, and questioning more what I was thinking and why I was thinking. So in a way, I think it it destroyed many mental sets that I used to have, and ways of thinking that I used to have, and allowed me to actually put them into practice and not only like knowing them. Aside from all of the knowledge that all of the speakers have brought to us. So yeah, I think that was the biggest take
Yeah,
of
it
my
feels like
year.
it's a continuation of a process that you described in the previous question, and about how you came to participate in the Bray Scholars Program. It seems to me, you're one of the I guess outgrowths of your curiosity is a skepticism of these fixed ways of doing things, and you're drawn towards the possibilities, like what becomes possible when you question those and don't just follow the path that has been built for you. And that's a process that has been alive in you for a really long time. And it sounds to me like with Beret, it just hit a new level.
It really did. It really did. Well, just seeing everything that we saw, right? And seeing so many opportunities and possibilities. Because before that, I've only gone to only so many countries, and really as a tourist, like you visit some places, the touristic places. In Armenia, I was living in Dilijan, so I saw it was a very small town. I saw the same buildings, the same people, the same dynamics, and just participating in Barrett and seeing like having a monk and then an entrepreneur, and then so many paths and so many possibilities that I was just, yeah, like I'm the owner of this and I can do of my life whatever I want to. So it just like showed me face to face what actually life can look like, and it can look so different, and that's the beauty of it, that you decide how you want it to look.
Nice. Well, turning our attention now to after the program, like immediately after the program. So today's February 13th, 2026. So it's been now almost 9 months. Actually, it's been eight and a
Yes.
half months. It's
Yes.
been, I guess it's like if you take the start date of Beret to the end and the end date of Beret to now, that second time period is actually now longer. So we've been away from Beret now longer than the actual. I just realized that myself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. A year ago we were in Nairobi, no?
Yes,
Yes.
we had just arrived in Nairobi.
Wow.
Oh,
So
Nairobi. I love
beautiful.
Nairobi so
I miss
much.
I think I was in Carnivore actually 1 year ago in
Mm.
the restaurant. Oh, I miss it so much.
I do too.
So
I really
much.
do. Yeah, slice of heaven. Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, the question I'm going to ask you is, so right after the program just ended, and then there's this process that we call re-entry, which looks different for everybody. And I'm wondering how that looked for you.
Oh, well, to be honest, once I finished Barrett,
Mm,
I thought to myself, maybe my mom was right. Maybe I don't want to go to college anymore. Um, it took me a long time to understand life again and where I wanted to see myself and what I wanted to do. Not because I was confused, but because I had seen all of these possibilities, right? It was
mhm,
not it was not that I was lost because I didn't know what to do, but it was because I wanted to do so much. Um, so I was lost in trying to understand if the path that I had decided from before, which was college, was what I wanted, or should I consider other possibilities? Um, I went back to Bolivia. That's what I did right after
mhm,
Bored. And going back to home, especially after all of the conversations I had and the things I've seen, was a bit tough. Not having friends that I've seen reinvented in every single country over and over again
mhm,
was not something that I was seeing anymore. I wasn't talking to the people. I wasn't comparing experiences. Um, I was with my family. I was with my friends. Beautiful. I love spending time with them, but the city, the country, the dynamic of the country, the dynamic of the people felt that didn't belong with me anymore. That I wasn't really fitting into it.
mhm,
So I was very uncomfortable. In the beginning, I didn't realize that that came from not because I was very lost. I was just very scared that Barrett had just changed my mind so much. But I took some time to reflect on the opportunity. And what I really realized is that maybe I don't feel that I fit anymore, but that's because I've been privileged enough to have experienced what I've experienced.
mhm,
Um, and I think that slowly, like integrating that to the way I thought, had allowed me to re-enter society, no? And
mhm,
like in a matter of a couple of weeks, I was talking to my friends as if nothing happened. As if nothing happened. I was again in the dynamic of I went to visit my grandma. I was going to do groceries. I was doing this and that, and it felt like I was part of it again. Uh, but I'm always curious. Like that, the curiosity is never gonna go away. So of course, I wanted to leave, and then I under that neuroscience is something that I really wanted to pursue, and it's an interest that had grown on me since years and years ago, and it developed to neuroscience, but it had like a very interesting path towards to the point that it was neuroscience. So I was sure that I wanted to do it, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. And yeah, then I came, and here in university, I feel like what was a bit rough was that the US was in a very specific state. The cold, those things played against rather than like the Barrett experience, because I think I had integrated that back home, which was very helpful to take some time after Barrett in my city to process everything that had happened.
Wow. So, one thing that's coming through to me as you narrate these different chapters of your life is that it's not just your curiosity and your courage, but you also seem to have a really strong kind of inner compass and wisdom. Like, but you need to go through a process to arrive at a direction, and it's a process of just, honest reflection. So also great insight too. So, which I guess connects with the wisdom. You just seem to be open to an honest assessment of where you are, what you know that you want to accomplish in the world, what constraints are around you, what opportunities are there, and you go through a process where that all just churns inside of you, and then you know what you want to do, and then you do it.
Yeah, I was, as I said, thank you first of all for the description. I really appreciate those words. Um, yeah, I've been lucky enough from since before I started my journey in the world to be in touch with various sectors of people. I did some work in a couple of programs, and I think just seeing also within Tarija different realities within my city, different realities and different ways of living, aside from the one I was used to. Because usually you're very secluded to your bubble, right? Like you don't really see outside of there if you don't force yourself to. And I was lucky enough to came across opportunities that allow me to see that. So I guess that self-reflection and self-exploration have come to from having seen so many people gone through so many things that allow me to dissect maybe what I was experiencing. um, I wouldn't say smarter, but just being more conscious of the things that were around me and my position in there and the privileges that I had and how lucky and unlucky I was. And I think that's something that I learned to do, and in a way it stick to me throughout my life. And I guess all of these experiences have lifted that way more, no? Like going to Armenia, then doing Barrett, and now with university, I imagine also like seeing so many things it just allows you to be able to dissect things from in a larger with more context, with more information. So yeah.
Right. Good. Next question I have for you is about relating across cultural differences. So traveling the world with peers from over 40 countries, you know a thing or two about how to communicate and collaborate effectively across cultures. What insights have you gained about this in, as a result of your experiences?
We're all humans. We're all trying to figure out. We all have fears. We all love. We're all scared. We're all happy. We're all, at the end of the day, just trying to go through life and trying to make the best out of it. And I guess that philosophy helped me to engage in conversations in a way that I smile never was always part of those conversations, and always smiling at people gives you another perspective when you're trying to communicate things that might be considered rough. But I don't think I've ever faced great difficulty communicating with people. And maybe it's just because I haven't come across with a person that I wouldn't really be able to communicate properly. But so far, recognizing that there's differences is the first step. And saying, I come from certain context, you come from a certain context. We do not align in the way we think, maybe. We do not align in the way we view life. But at least we're, in the end of the day, we're both trying to do the same. We're trying to live. We're trying to be happy. We're trying to do the same things. So I'm going to listen to you. I hope you listen to me. And that's how you engage in a productive conversation. To be honest, I think the skills that I gained the most from the way that I learned more about this sort of intercultural communication was through partners. I think partners really put you out there in having to face differences, because you're gonna be very like if with a friend you feel that you can communicate because you might be a little bit culturally different. With a partner, you're talking about someone that you spend your time, that you build something with. So you're gonna experience more rough paths. And I've been lucky enough to always find people that were easy to talk to and like to communicate. I think so. Yeah, just talk. Talking is very important. Just do it.
Just do it. I love it.
Just do it.
There's many different kinds of talking, though, right? I mean, because there's also yelling and shouting, I guess, is a form of talking.
You don't shout. You try to lower your voice and have a conversation where you listen to each other and no one feels attacked.
Right. And I think that's the distinction I'm picking up here is, the really kind of the default human condition is to feel attacked just by being in the presence of difference a lot of the time. And I think that's what leads to a lot of difficulties in humans relating to each other successfully across differences, because we see difference, the part of the brain. Here's my neuroscience expertise coming out again, Nico.
Please.
Not joking. The amygdala gets active, and then we can't think straight because we feel like somehow we are being challenged just by being in the presence of difference. But what I'm hearing you say is, and I think it's probably, again, your curiosity that's leading the way here, is there's no need to feel threatened, right? It's just a different way of going about our business. And there's a deeper level of commonality, which, here's another tiny little bit of neuroscience. Finding commonalities is actually a brain management strategy for reducing the sense of threat. And that seems like that's just something that's also naturally a part of you, is knowing at a really deep level this basic humanity that we all share.
Yes. And to be honest, I also, in a way, I got trained because when I was in Dilijan, I was part of the peer listener group, which was basically peers that supported peers. And the group of peer listeners was itself very diverse. So within the peer group that we had was very insightful. Everything, like the conversations that we had, we were trained together to be able to sustain conversations, supporting any way of anything that peers might needed. That helped me so much. That for me was, I think, one of the best experiences I had, because it allowed me to understand what actually listening is and how to listen, and also how to be listened, and that it's important that you make your voice heard. So I think that's also why I understood that what you just described, right? Like understanding that we're more similar than we think is the way around, and it's how we should be living every day, especially if we live in international context or any place where diversity is a thing. Well,
and I appreciate you pointing out that training, that you were actually trained, right? So there are actual skills that maybe will come to us naturally, but probably won't. And so you actually benefited from some explicit skill building training as well. Yeah.
Yes. I feel very, very lucky.
Well, next question. Yeah, I mean, you've already shared a little bit about this, but if you've got anything more, please share more, which is what's next for you?
Oh, I'm very excited for what's yet to come. My plan for the summer is to go back to Bolivia. I'm working with a psychiatrist that I would say that it was one of my inspirations to do neuroscience. And he works at a place, it's called Intraid. It's in Spanish. It's basically a center where people with addictions and any kind of mental disorder really go, and they can live there for some time. They have a support system. And well, the head of this center is this psychiatrist that does research, and I want to work with him. So I think I'm gonna go back to Bolivia, do that, give a little bit back to Bolivia, see my family, see my friends, sort of center my career towards something very specific, and try to I want to explore the possibilities that neuroscience has to offer. Really, you can do so much. There's the cell biology track. I'm more leaning towards the behavioral side because I really like the way people behave, the way cultures are formed, the dynamics that we have. So I really want to follow that, and I think having the opportunity now in summer to expose myself to differences and new outcomes of life would be very, very insightful in what I want to do, and also working with a person that I have admired for so many years.
Excellent. That sounds so exciting.
Yes, I'm very. Oh, and also I'm planning on going abroad. As I said, like after Barrett, something that I really wanted to do is to move around, and I think to make the experience in university integral and just explore as much as I can. Going abroad and studying abroad for a semester is definitely something that I wanted to do soon. And yeah, for after uni, I have no clue. I think we're gonna
Yeah,
go get there
step
soon.
by step, step by step.
Yes,
Do you have any thoughts on where you would want to study abroad?
yes, London.
Mm.
Fingers crossed. I want to
Why
go to
London?
London. Well, there are very many reasons.
Mm.
I actually, after I realized that maybe the US was not only the option that I had for university, London was the second one. I think it's a city that I thought reflected me and who I was. So I was like a couple of years ago, I was very into. I really felt a lot of appeal by the weather, the way that the city is structured. I was just very attracted to that.
Mm.
So I want to experience it. I don't want to like have lived without having experienced London as a city. But the program that the university offers in London, it's connected to some studies that I did before when I was in Armenia. I took theater in Armenia because also my curiosity had led me to so many things. Like I've
Uh-huh.
tried so many things. So I did theater when I was in Armenia, and I studied like a couple of theater forms from London, one of those being pantomime. And the program
Mm.
that I'm going to take in London focuses on art and history, and theater is one of the components. And I really want to take advantage of the liberal arts approach of the university and just do something completely different. And if I'm not mistaken, I might end up with a minor in European studies, which is crazy. So yeah, I think I also wanted to allow myself to do something that I didn't have to do because I had to do for my CV my for the major itself. I just wanted to do something completely different because I think that really reflects who I am, and I think it's important to keep on honoring that I'm like that.
Mm-hmm. Broad interests. I mean, I mean, you mentioned art in passing earlier on in our conversation, but we didn't explore it at all. And now you. Thank you for sharing that about your plans for London as well, because that's a whole other aspect of your interests we hadn't even.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
which is also like which I can link it back to neuroscience because you're talking about
mm,
the way that people express themselves and the way that people have understood their context and the way that people have reflected different periods on time, which is directly linked to the dynamics that they had, the structures that they had, that again links back to the brain and how it's structured and the things you learn and the things
mhm.
that all of the sets that you have, the mental sets and the conclusions that your brain reaches and why does it do that? So again, behavioral neuroscience.
I love it. And also, it also seems to be another way in which you're breaking down or questioning the boxes that we put people in, because, I think by default, we tend to think of, neuroscience as part of STEM. And there's a certain left brain people do STEM and right brain people do art. Well, not you, Nico. You're not allowing yourself to be limited by those distinctions.
Right in the middle, I guess.
Oh, I don't know about that. I have a different metaphor. But it's to me, it's not like not putting you on a line. It's like you encompass the whole thing.
That works for me too.
All right, good.
Thank you.
That feels more like a more true reflection of who you are.
I appreciate that.
Well, the last question I have for you is: so we live in a world that's full of suffering, and a lot of that suffering is caused by humans. And it can be easy to feel overwhelmed. It can be easy to lose hope. Have you got any words to encourage us about the future?
I think it's important to find hope within ourselves and to share that with the world. And the way that I personally practice that is I allow myself to have conversations with people that I've never seen before. I smile a lot to people that just walk by my side.
Mm,
And for me, that it's like a level of happiness that I can't explain. And it's what,
mm.
whenever I'm walking and I see someone and I have the desire of smiling at them and they smile back at me, I know that maybe their day is going to be a bit better and mine is going to be also a bit better, way better. I love smiling at people. Yeah, that's just brought me so much hope. And having done Barrett and having do it in so many places and realizing that people do like smiling back and they do feel fulfilled when you do that, or that's at least what I sense. That's what I try to do, and that's how I've been regaining hope. And yeah, I think that's what keeps me hopeful every day, to be able to have these little interactions that you normally wouldn't if you stay in that mental bubble of the people that you already know and the things that you already do.
Ah, that's such a beautiful. There's so much in there. I think what I'm left with is just the power of the small, what might seem small, right, in our lives. It might, like one smile to one person might seem small, but it's not small at all. It's
And
kind
I
of
think the
what it's
change
all
just
about.
starts there.
Mm,
Yes,
mm,
yes.
mm-hmm,
You reminded me to Elena's video, the one that she did for Barrett. The beauty
mm,
in the small things,
mm,
appreciating those small moments and those small interactions that in the end are the ones that mean the most.
mm. Well, that's a beautiful note for us to end on. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we wrap up?
I wanted to say thank you so much. I'm very happy that you are doing this. I think it's for us as as scholars, it's a great archive to have, having conversations with you and exploring what our experience was. I think it's something great you're doing. Thank you
Oh,
very
well,
much, Jason. Thank you
you're
for the
welcome.
space too.
You're welcome, Nico, and it is so utterly my pleasure and my honor. As I say in the voiceover at the start of the pod, it's like the program ended and I desperately wanted to stay in touch with you all because, like, you all of you had been such an important part of my life for all of these months,
Likewise.
transformative months for me too. I learned and grew so much during this time together. I'm just incredibly grateful for the opportunity to keep in touch with you all, and I learn so much, and I'm so inspired by all of you. So thank you too, Nico.
I hope we can see each other soon. Maybe I go to California, visit you, Belen.
That would be great. Yeah, actually, I just ended up interviewing Belen for the pod
Oh,
yesterday.
wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna text her. That's a note for me to text her.
Okay, great.
Nice
All right.
talking to you, Jason. Thank you
Y-
very much again.
You're welcome, Nico. Nice talking to you too.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Nico. If you did, please tell at least one friend about it. Give us a 5-star rating and follow the podcast. That will help others find us. Until next time, let's keep our heads clear and our hearts open.